Hi, my name is Daniel Jackman. I'm going to show you how to get to the spool valve of a 500 plus series. This would include the 505 plus, the 510 plus, the 520 MD plus. Basically, I've taken the cover off of the positioner here, and so I've gotten down to the PCB cover. I've already loosened the screws. There's 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all different sizes, so I like to leave them in the PCB cover when I take it off. These two are the same size. These two are the same size, and these two are the same size. So just for your reference, these are the longest, these are medium, these are shortest, if you do happen to have those fall out. But anyway, I've already loosened those up, so I'm going to take this off. If you have a limit switch or a remote mount card, it's going to be mounted here in these 3 little holes. You're going to have to remove that before you get this PCB cover off, but I guess that kind of goes without saying. I'm going to take this cover off and just set it up there. So here's my main board. I've got 2 screws, one here and one there in the center of the board on the top and on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Okay, I'm going to take these. Generally what I like to do with these little screws is I put them in the LED holes just so I don't lose them. It's just handy to keep those so you don't end up wondering where they went. So with this, from this point, I'm going to pivot the board this way. You've got a ribbon cable right underneath here. Here, I'll just tip this up. You got a ribbon cable right here. If you end up pushing the board too far, that ribbon cable should pop out. It's nice just to not to strain it, so put your fingers under there and pull the ribbon cable out so you don't stress it out. But the rest of the board just pivots nicely around. I've got my hall sensor connection here. My potentiometer connection is the white one. And I've got my piezo connection, which is right here. Okay. This section right here is your double acting driver module. And this is your spool block right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take these screws out. And generally what I like to do is just pull the screws out just a little bit to pivot that spool valve out. Now I don't know if you could see that, but this spool block, let's see if I can focus there. This spool block has this little spring right here that helps take up some of the slop when that spool is inside this clip down in there. So you have to be careful. You have to make sure that that's back inside the clip as you're putting it back in. But anyway, so I've got my spool block out here. I'm gonna take my 2 screws out, put them over here. So the spool should move really cleanly through the block. There shouldn't be any kind of sticking as you're running that through there. You hear that click? That's really just it bouncing off the spring right there, but it should just be really smooth. If you need to, you can take some alcohol or contact cleaner, electrical contact cleaner, something that's not going to leave a residue, and you can get a lint-free cloth and this. Just put some of your contact cleaner in the lint-free cloth. Put your spool in there and just rotate your spool in there just very gently. You're just trying to remove any kind of contamination that might exist. This is a new spool, so there shouldn't be any contamination on it. But just for demonstration, you just rotate that in your cloth. You never want to bend it because this is stainless steel, a spool that's been nitrided, but it will bend if you put enough torsion on it. So anyway, I'm just going to put that back in. You should see there's a little notch on the side, the corner of one of those. Just insert it back into the notched side, like that, if that makes sense. So one side of your spool, just so you know, one side of the spool is larger on that side and your spring is on the other side, so insert that into the notched side. You can also clean the block by putting some contact cleaner down through here and maybe blasting out the air passageway with some compressed air. Just try to knock that loose. Don't put anything down inside here that's going to scratch up or make any indentations in the block, because that just will cause trouble for your spool then in the long run. So the most complicated part about putting this spool block back in is this little spring. Like I said, it's a little difficult to maneuver. So what I like to do is I like to take it with my finger and angle it up. It's a little bit hard, so it might take me more than one try. Let me try to refocus here. Okay, so you can see this clip right down in there that I'm trying to get this spring inside. So I'm going to pivot it up and then try to drop it in. It might, like I said, it might take a couple of tries. Oh, looks like I got it. Yep, I got it on the first try. Good for me. Anyway, I'm going to put the screws back in at this point. And then, yeah, just put everything back together the same way. Plug your board back in, your piezo, your potentiometer, the Hall sensor, and the pressure sensor, and then just pivot your board closed. Thanks. From this point, you're just going to take those two screws that you had right here for your board. Take those and put those back in, top and bottom. And screw those down. And then just put your cover back on and screw all those back down. You should be good to go. That's how you clean a spool valve.